So today we're throwing it back to an old school 5 frugal things video. Hi friends, I am Sarah, also known as Budget Girl here on the internet. And if you're unfamiliar with this series, I have been doing it for years on the internet. Today is actually my 7-year YouTube anniversary. What? Which is very cool and very surreal. That's a long part of my life but I now can't imagine life without you guys. So thank you so much sincerely for being here. I'm just honestly honored to have this community and you guys in my life, and just thank you for spending your very valuable time listening to me talk to my camera on the internet. If you're new here or unfamiliar, this is a series where I talk about 5 or so recent frugal wins or fails. And the definition for me of a frugal win or a fail is something that I did where I saved money or something that I did where I lost money. And I share these things in the hopes that by being transparent and talking about money on the internet, I will be able to save you guys from making the same mistakes and thereby save you money. So if you like that, please like this video and also subscribe, because I am very close, and by very close I mean like 9,000 away from 100,000 subscribers, and I would absolutely love in my 7th year of YouTube to finally reach 100,000 subscribers. This is an awesome little community here, though that not that little anymore, but this is an awesome community and I'm so thrilled to have it, and I would love to have that 100,000 subscriber mark, because just a lot of fun stuff happens when you get that. You get a lot of opportunities which I would then be able to use to create better stuff for you guys. So share this with a friend if you would like. The first frugal thing is that I got $150, a little over $150 refunded from my medical insurance company, and here's how. And this is why you should always check your paycheck. So my job requires us to get an annual physical every year. Last year it was due in October because of the pizza party, and I went in probably like 2 weeks before, but the place that I went to get my physical thing misfiled it with the insurance company. I'm in the extremely privileged position that if I get that physical every year, I get completely free healthcare through my day job, which is a communications coordinator at Texas A&M. If I don't, then I have to pay $30 a month, which is not much at all. And I remember having to pay hundreds of dollars a month for health insurance, and I do not miss it. However, having to pay anything for health insurance when I can essentially save $30 a month by going once a year to get a physical is absolutely a task that is worth it. I noticed on my paychecks that I was getting charged that $30 a month medical fee, and had been since October. And I was like, no, I know I did it. And I actually had to go through a not fun, but not as extensive as I thought it might be, process of actually calling my insurance company and being like, hey, I went and did a thing, and I had to go find like the doctor's appointment receipt that I had made through their portal to go get this physical. But after I did that, and I just like submit it through another thing and they wouldn't respond back to me, after I did that, they actually did refund me the $150 some dollars that they had charged me inaccurately. And the issue is that the company had not filed it correctly, but no one is going to fix that but me. No one's going to fix that without being asked to. They're just going to keep charging me, assuming that I didn't get the physical when I did. So those type of like sneaky little things that you're entitled to as part of your benefits package that you may have done everything right for but are getting charged is absolutely worth the time to get fixed, because nobody wants to be charged extra money when they don't deserve it. Same thing with subscriptions and stuff like that. If you're not using it, cancel it or fix those little things. It is worth the time. It is annoying as hell, but it is worth the time. And I got my money back, which is a win. And I put that $150 into a brokerage account, and now that money is making me money. Okay, jump to the end if you want the full story, but the TLDR of this number 2 frugal win is that I actually got my home warranty to replace both my fridge and my washer, but it took so much out of me, I think I aged 5 years. So yeah, go to the end if you want to hear the full story of that. But that was like a $1,900 win, which was really good. And I got 2 brand new appliances. Both of those appliances I bought used, one for $800 and one for like $200. I got a set, the washer dryer set, I think for like $300 when I bought the place, and I bought the fridge used. So getting the home warranty to cover those for the $75 service fee each was, I would say, technically a frugal win, but I would not do that again. Just, yeah. I had to go hard I did yell at them on Twitter, and that's not what I use Twitter for. It's just not. Okay, frugal win number 3. I did the turnover of my rental apartment in March. So my old renters moved out on February 28th. I did not renew their lease, and I had a new person contracted to move in on April 1st. During the month of March, I was able to go in and completely repaint the kitchen. I was able to redo a lot of old work that had happened previous to me purchasing it that was really bad and just kind of crappy apartment level stuff, and I was able to fix it all up, and it was really, really nice. It did cost a little bit more than I expected to pay, but there were also some issues that I did not anticipate, like a hole in the tub and some other stuff like that. I had the money saved, which is great. That's what you need if you're owning a house. I worked really, really hard. Jacob did too. And it's beautiful, and I think the renter really, really appreciates it, and I won't have to do this work again in the future. I was able to fix some stuff that's going to make it really nice long term. Okay, frugal win number 4. I was able to DIY an install of a French drain in my duplex unit's backyard. The reason we did this is that when it rains, there's like kind of a place where the rain falls off the roof, and it's created a little bit of a gully or a little baby trench, and the water just tends to sit there for a while after it rains, and sometimes it even backs up a little bit onto our back porch. This is just a little concerning. It's never backed up into the house. It's never been a huge problem. It always drains within a couple of days. However, this is my home and I love it, and I don't want to have future foundation issues because of water not draining properly. And this has been planned for a while. I figured out how to do it online, got a couple of consults, and just kind of figured it out. I figured we could either do gutters or a French drain. Ended up deciding not to do gutters, and here's the win. Instead of paying $3,000 to $5,000 for someone to come in, dig up and install a French drain, which if you don't know what it is, it's traditionally, you essentially dig a big trench in the ground and you put in like a perforated big piece of tubing, and so the rain has a place to go and you can direct it off the property. So in my home there was like a T shape along the side of the house. I'm directing it out to a ditch behind the fence line. And the way you usually do it is you put the big perforated pipe, you cover it, and then you put rocks on it, and just hundreds of pounds of rocks actually, and then you just essentially create a filter system and then cover that with dirt so that the water has a place to drain below the ground and away from your house. There is also a system called an easy drain that essentially is the perforated tube covered with a sock that's filled with styrofoam that allows you to not have to do the hundreds and hundreds of pounds of gravel or rock to create that system. And I chose one of those. It was like $50 a link. I ended up choosing 3 links and connecting them with a little T-square pipe and doing a drain box on one end as an extra place for about a gallon or 2 of water to drain on the property. And that cost about $200, which was not bad at all. It was also very light. We didn't have to drag the gravel anywhere or anything like that because it was just the big noodly tubes. And then for the labor, which is the hard part and the expensive part, of course, for all of this, I signed up for something called the Big Event, which if you have ever heard of Texas A&M, you might have heard of this. It's the largest student-run volunteer project in the nation, I believe. And what happens is our wonderful, gorgeous students every year sign up for a day of hard labor. Not all of them, but a lot of them sign up for a day of just hard, torturous labor in the community, completely free, just to help out and to beautify. And I think it's the coolest program ever. The first year I was here, I was like, wait, why are they doing this? And yeah, you can any member of the community can sign up and they will come out and they will like weed or plant flowers, drag away pipe, and it's utilized by senior citizens, by regular people in the community, by anybody. I went out and covered it one year and they were pulling a tree out of the ground, like an old dead tree, and these kids just like hacked at it and then just yanked it out of the damn ground like it was nothing. Youth. And so I signed up to get them to dig my trench for me. Student organizers came out, they saw the property, I explained to them what I wanted to do, and it was gonna be a really, really tough job. I had 4 students assigned to my project, and it was supposed to be for 2 hours on a Saturday, late in March, which of course was the same month as the turnover because I have bad timing. And 2 showed up and they were absolutely wonderful, incredibly strong young men who worked so hard. They dug a probably 15 to 18 inch trench across 25 feet across and then 5 or 10 feet back in my yard. And then they helped me actually install the pieces and then fill the holes of the trench. We did run out of time, so Jacob and I had to kind of finish up, but the amount of just grunt work that these guys did. They brought their own tunneling shovels and tools, and quite frankly, I was in awe. And all I had to do was provide like snacks and water. And they were fantastic young men, and it saved me literally thousands of dollars for Jacob and me and these 2 young men to do the trenching ourselves. Jacob and I ended up pitching in because it wasn't gonna get done otherwise that day. And it worked out really, really well. We were dead. I still have like some, you can't see them anymore, but I had 2 giant blisters on my hands because I'm more of a painter and less of a digger, not super strong. So yeah, it was huge project, but now it's rained a couple of times since, and the water just goes away. It just goes away into the ground. The backyard is not pretty right now, but the grass will grow back. And it was a really, really cool system that we were able to just research on Google online how to install a French drain, try to figure out where we could put it to make it the most useful. And it's gonna protect my house from future water damage, or from ever getting water damage, because unless there's an absolutely insane storm, we're redirecting probably 100 gallons of water away from the house, if not more, and just letting it kind of disperse into the ground and pushing it out towards a big drainage ditch. I think it's going to be a huge improvement, and it's protecting my investment asset for years to come. So that was an absolutely huge win. Might be win of the year, to tell you the truth, of the free labor of utilizing Texas A&M students. And they were just fantastic. I can't thank them enough. And then finally, my 5th frugal win. We don't actually have any fails this time other than like the blisters and pain associated with doing all the labor, was that I refinanced my mortgage. So I had a 3.25% mortgage on my property. I've been in it for 11 months now, and rates have been extremely low. So I looked into refinancing, and I actually ended up doing a FHA streamlined refinance and getting my rate down to 2.75%. Now I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but it is deducting $100 a month from the overall payment and moving $100 a month from a interest payment to a principal payment. That's the long and short of how it changed. All the rest of my fees are the same, but it took my mortgage essentially from $1,700 to like $1,575, which I'm rolling up to $1,600 a month. And it actually makes my home profitable even though I'm living in it. So currently my new renter is paying $1,250 a month. $50 of that is for maintenance that is being outsourced. And then Jacob is still paying $500 a month, though not this month, by the way, because after doing all that trench work and help on the Unit B, he doesn't have to pay rent in April because quite frankly, I owe him more than, you know, his $775 or so that he pays after utilities and his shares of everything, for the amount of work that he did. It was nuts. So yeah, he didn't have to pay this month. I also didn't have to pay the mortgage for a month. There was just kind of a gap I had to pay to my old mortgage company in February and my new mortgage company in April, and that is all set up and everything. And yeah, this refinance will save me thousands of dollars over the course of my mortgage. It made my mortgage more affordable, and it came out so I'm actually making $100 a month by renting out half of my side and the A side, because my income is more than my expenses for it, which is really cool. If you want to see another video on that, I have a $150 mortgage because I used to contribute $150 a month to my mortgage, and now I contribute nothing. Both because my rent went up on my rental unit and my mortgage went down. So that's just really freaking cool. And I would just love for you to know that that is a possibility of what you can do if you do something like house hacking instead of buying like a traditional single family home when you're ready. Very, very cool system that I never knew about when I was getting started in personal finance, but accessible wealth building is what we do here. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you liked and also subscribed, because once again, 7 years on YouTube. And leave your recent frugal wins or fails below. Usually there are fails in these. There's a whole playlist series of my 5 frugal things where you can see all the times that I've failed and other times that I've won. So I would love to hear your recent frugal wins and fails, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Okay, if you want to hear the full or the nearly full story of the fridge and the washer and dryer, here you go. All right, win number 2. This one's gonna be controversial. I got a home warranty with my duplex purchase. It was like included in the package, and essentially I'm actually planning on doing a whole video on this because they were really good for some things and really, really, really not good for others. But after literal tears and hours and hours and hours on the phone, I was able to get them to replace 2 appliances that went out on me within the warranty frame. So I had a washer where the agitator just came off, and it's actually still usable, but it was a washer that was broken, and they came out and they charged me the $75 service fee, and they were like, we're gonna order you a new agitator. And then 3 months went by, and that part was still on back order / they didn't know where it was, blah, 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 blah. I finally got at the chutzpah to argue with them enough that they were like, okay, we'll replace it, because they had no ETA on when they could actually get the part. And so that was a $900 win, because they gave me a credit of $900. And then after the Texas winter storms, my fridge, which I actually bought only about a year ago for $800 used, it was only a 2-year-old fridge, the compressor or the condenser went out. I'm never gonna get it right, but one of those 2 things went out, and so I put a ticket in with the home warranty, and they tried to send somebody out to fix it. It was gonna be like 2 weeks without a fridge, no less. And I even hired like another person to come out and look at it so that I could just get a diagnosis for them to go off of. There was a whole rambling down spiral of they didn't treat the ticket well or right. As in, I ended up calling the contractor that they hired, who said they didn't work on that type of part that we were pretty sure it was. Called the warranty company, they said, no, we'll make them. And I'm like, are you gonna really? And then when they came out and they were like, oh, it's this part, we're not gonna work on it. Home warranty was like, okay, we'll send out another person in another 2 weeks. Once again, no working fridge and all of that jazz. And yes, this was shortly after the winter storms, but it still fell under the warranty because the compressor went out probably just from the clicking on and off of the power constantly. There was a whole kerfuffle, and I ended up actually having to like reply to their Twitters, because apparently if you just call the regular service line, the level of people that you get there are just gonna like chase you around in circles and promise you whatever, and then just nothing ever happens, and it's extremely frustrating. And I cried 5 times, at least 3 times. Extremely, extremely frustrating. But apparently if you message them on Twitter or start leaving comments on their Twitter saying like, I haven't had a fridge for 3 weeks because you guys can't get your together, they will actually connect you with someone who can help. And I ended up getting 2 appliances replaced in my home that were under warranty, but it was a battle. It was such a battle, and Jacob and I ended up going without a fridge for 3 weeks because we were trying to fight the home warranty company on it. I did eventually get them to replace both appliances, and the way they did it was they said, here's how much we'll offer you for replacement. You can either order through us and we'll get it to you at some point in time, which I was not confident about due to the agitator and the other part that they supposedly ordered for the fridge, or you can purchase a new appliance and we'll refund you up to this amount. So I ended up purchasing a new fridge and a new washer, and I got the refunds for both of those. A lot of you guys are gonna get mad at me for this because yes, technically I did not have to pay for the home warranty. I only had to pay a $75 fee for them to come out both times. And I ended up getting a $1,000 fridge and like an $800 washer, brand new with a 1-year warranty for free. But it was still a battle, and quite frankly, I would not do it again. I'm not going to renew my home warranty, because just the amount of time and effort and just mental fatigue that it took to get them to actually cover something that they were supposed to cover as part of my contract was absolutely insane.